As we journey on for the 11th of June 2024, in a significant way, this day is actually very to you, to me, to our next generation. Welcome to our Tech Note. I am Priscilla Regina Nanwaga, and we're going to be focusing on celebrating the International Day of Play. Yes, you had it right, play. Now, the backbone of it is that this year, the UN has gazetted today, the 11th of June, as the International Day of Play. The day is a global initiative aimed at celebrating the joy, the creativity, as well as the benefits of play in children's development and overall well-being. Now, you and I think can attest to that, that we had as much play in our earlier education and our earlier upbringing as children, and it greatly contributed to the bearable human beings that we are as adults. So this day underscores the importance of play in fostering fast physical, then social, then emotional, cognitive growth among children, and it also does encourage communities worldwide to recognize as well as promote play as a fundamental human right for all children. And when you look at our education system currently, it has sort of sucked out play. It's so much work, book, classroom, blackboard classroom, or computer classroom, that kind of interaction. So it has taken the play out of a child's upbringing. So this will be the first time ever that the International Day of Play will be celebrated globally. Now, the PlayMatters project will hold activities to popularize the day among its stakeholders in Uganda, in Ethiopia, as well as Tanzania, showcasing the best practices of play-based learning interventions in these three countries. Now, to get a full twilight of the day, we are joined by Anne Smiley, who is on my immediate left, and she is PlayMatters Deputy Project Director under Research and Technology. And we also do have Mr. Richard, who is also the PlayMatters Deputy Project Coordinator, focusing on policy and advocacy. So I'm going to allow you salutations for our audience, and then we'll get into the conversation, starting with you, Anne.
Thank you so much for having us this morning. It's our pleasure to be here to celebrate the International Day of Play. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share this with you and with the people of Uganda.
Okay. Omasete?
Thank you, Priscilla, and thank you, the viewers out there. Good morning to you. And we'd really like to celebrate the International Play Day together with all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Let me start with you, Richard. International Day of Play. Why do we have to actually make this a global conversation in the first place?
Oh, okay. Play is kind of like a fundamental. It's fundamental to human existence. Play is within a child. It's a natural desire for a child. And so we've found through evidence that actually play brings out the best in learning. And that's one thing that we're trying to focus on, and we're trying to bring it to all teaching and learning processes. We're trying to embed it in the education systems.
And then you came up with the PlayMatters project. What does that do? What is its mandate? What is the problem that you're primarily trying to solve?
You and I are very familiar with the quality of education in Uganda. And PlayMatters is coming to support the government of Uganda to improve the learning outcomes in a holistic way. It's also coming to improve the well-being of children. We know that children are experiencing a lot of stress, a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of crisis all over the country. We are receiving so many refugees, and so we are fitting into this space. And so we want to improve the learning outcomes. We are here to see that we embed these in all teaching and learning processes and within the education system. So these are aspects that we are addressing. But we also very mindful that it takes, like it was always said, it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes almost all actors within the social ecological environment of a child. So in addition to teachers and the school leadership, PlayMatters is engaging the communities, and it's also engaging all actors, workers of government, staff of government, system actors, really to support learning through play, not only in the schools, but in the homes and in the communities. Because you know very well, if I talk about play, there's a very strong likelihood that somebody may think play is just a part and parcel of, it doesn't enhance learning, but it is evidence that actually play enhances learning. and that's something that we are really pushing for.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you've received the perception that it's actually time wasting. And children,
Yes.
this is the prime time when children should be getting to learn this and this and this and this. So which brings me to Anne, how does the PlayMatters project actually apply learning through play?
Oh, it's a great question. We started by doing a lot of formative research, which means we really tried to understand people's perceptions of play across East Africa, because we also work in in Ethiopia and Tanzania, in addition to Uganda. And across those three countries, we found exactly what you said, that people don't believe that play belongs in a classroom. So that really helped us to articulate our definition of learning through play. And we define it as active learning. Active learning that really capitalizes on a child's natural desire to engage in play, that brings that joyfulness, that inquisitiveness, that creativity into the classroom. So not just leaving it outside on the field or on the pitch, but really bringing it inside the classroom and connected to the curriculum. So we have three main components to our definition. The first component is that we work to support teachers, and all of this was developed with and through the Ministry of Education and Sports. We help teachers to intentionally plan and deliver creative learning through play activities in their classrooms that bring out that social interaction, that iterativeness, that active engagement, so that children can really get that experience. But it's really about intentional planning and delivery through the lesson planning process, and those activities need to be connected to a learning objective. So it's not just to get up and play in the middle of class, but to play in a way that is connected to the learning objective for the lesson. That's the first component. The second component really gets to the nature of interactions in learning through play. So we promote interactions of people, between people. So children should be interacting with children through group work, through pair work, through games and activities that again enhance that learning objective. But even more importantly, we focus on teaching and learning materials. So children should be able to have a hands-on experience, not just with a pen or a paper, but with ideally different kinds of materials, even something as simple as bottle caps for counting, or as simple as sticks and stones, but it can be as advanced as the 6 Lego bricks, which Lego Foundation, our donor, has donated to us and are now integrated into our intervention. So we really promote those interactions. And then the final component of our definition really focuses on integrating and building a safe, healing learning environment. So none of this can happen if children feel scared of their teacher, if they're afraid, if they're not feeling comfortable, or if they don't feel included. So it's all about building that inclusive, safe, warm environment.
Yeah, that's very up to date.
I still have warm relations with my primary teachers, because of that safe and healing environment.
Exactly.
Like they were always more concerned of me beyond the education that they were giving, or that brought us, in unison. So in that regard, we want you to have a look at more details in regard to PlayMatters and how the project is actually running in Uganda.
My name is Shukuru Mushesha. I'm a caregiver at Bukere Primary School. We are also having an ECD where I'm teaching top class. I started teaching ECD since 2017. What attracted me to the work of caregiving is because naturally I love children. I love to live with children. And I want the children to grow when I'm showing them what to do and what is good and what is bad, to take them through the life, the real life. That's what I want.
9, 10. Mama, anaweza? Anapata ngapi? Tafutie namba 10. Show me a number.
Before learning through play, we could teach, yes. But after learning through play came in, now the lessons have become joyful, interactful. You can see when you are teaching children, they are very, very sharp. They can interact, they can do things that we don't know even. You create for them opportunities, they interact with the materials, they do many things. They role play, they do many things, they play, they learn, all things, we put them together. And it makes all the children from the villages, they are all joining schools because of that PlayMatters, learning through play methodology. Learning through play methodology has made me a good teacher. As I'm telling you just now, wherever I can go, I can teach. Even primary, I can teach because I'm using learning through play methodology.
Wow. It makes me want to go back to the classroom and actually do some playing of my own. But nevertheless, of course, as Anne had said, and that was evidence of Mushesha, who was saying that even her herself, as one who's delivering education to, you know, these children, she's enjoying delivering the education. And then more so those that are receiving these play matters nature of learning are also, you know, picking up on learning. And it allows the children to learn in various ways. Isn't that the case, Richard?
Sure. Sure, it does. Actually, I just want to say that the evidence, and this is global, first of all, we must say that in all communities and in all spaces, all cultures, play is part of the child. And so we see it as something that is fundamental to human existence. It's something that we must look at. The other aspect that we looked at, I want to talk about is, you see, as evidence shows that a child has to develop a broad range of skills.
Yeah.
Okay? We're talking about physical skills, we're talking about creativity skills, we're talking about, so all these broad range of skills have to be developed within a child if one sees a holistic development of this child. But the interesting part is that actually play enables us to attain all these skills simultaneously. So through play, we are able to see this child acquire all the fundamental skills that a child should have to grow holistically, and play facilitates that process of us having all these in one place. I mean, simultaneously. So this is something that actually, this is the power of play that we are seeing and that we are championing. So, sure.
Okay, and Play Matters project has so far now been adopted in 426 schools.
Yes.
Kudos on that for, you know, Ugandans appreciating, especially the education sector, really appreciating. But let's talk about the other accomplishments that have come with Play Matters working with 426 schools just in Uganda.
Thank you. It's been amazing to see the progress. We have, first and foremost, co-created our training content for teachers together with the Ministry of Education and Sports. That has been an incredible experience to see how that co-creation process unfolded. We now have really strong training content. We also work on teacher continuous professional development, so it's not only about a one-time training, but also really making sure that teachers have ongoing support through peer learning and through mentoring and coaching. That content creation has really been a wonderful accomplishment. But now we're actually using that content and rolling out with teachers. So we have actually reached 2,297 teachers with our trainings here in Uganda. And through those teachers and the 426 schools that you mentioned, which are in 9 districts in Uganda, we have reached over 365,000 learners. And that has just been incredible to see. In terms of those real outcomes, what are we actually seeing in the research? Luckily, we do have a large research component to the project. So we're starting to see some promising results in terms of teachers actually sustainably changing their behavior. We're starting to see some initial results about well-being being improved for both children and teachers and communities. And we're also starting to, just at the beginning stages of examining those learning outcomes to see if we're seeing some changes in holistic learning. But it's been a great opportunity to really investigate. And don't forget, we also work in 2 other countries. So overall, we've reached over 750,000 learners in Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania.
Okay, all right. So you've talked about it from the ministry level with the you know, development of the different content, the teachers. Let's talk about the children themselves. What has been the accomplishment there? Children to family, children to community.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how children, and when we go to communities and we listen to children and we listen to family members and community members and school management committee members, we hear them say, this is improving relations. Because we also work in very marginalized communities where refugees are in large numbers, where the host communities are also welcoming those refugees. And we see them saying, look, we're actually able to get along better. We're seeing better relations. We're seeing that the children are happier, that well-being is improving overall. And that is something that we expected, but I think we didn't quite expect the magnitude. So we're really looking forward to digging into the research results more and understanding how that's working.
Well, you'd be astonished to find out that a child who goes through this kind of system is one that can be, a happy adult who's able to deal with the different pressures as adulthood. As of course, this month is focused on men's mental health, and unfortunately for us, we've had quite a number of losses, men committing suicide still in this particular building up to this month. And so it all comes down to child development and how children are raised in order to deal with pressures and society's expectations as they grow older. And now in that regard, let's go back to policy and advocacy, Richard. As we are celebrating this day, from the side of government, what would you hope, with the continuous interaction that you've had with the Ministry of Education, what would you hope would be the tweaks that they need to implement in perhaps policy and regulations in order to help the integration of play into the education system?
Thank you, Priscilla. First is that we understand the precondition that if play is to be sustainable, you must embed it in the education system. And so the very first effort we had was to work to create a relationship with the government of Uganda, and particularly the Ministry of Education. Like Annie has mentioned, we are working with all the Ministries of Education in the different countries. And so the first was to work with the Ministry of Education and map out what are those policy spaces that require us to really fasten aspects of learning through play. We scanned through all the different policy environments, the different policy documents that are available, and we observed the loopholes, worked together with the ministry, engaged with the Ministry of Education and Sports, particularly the Teacher Education, Training and Development Department, and the Basic Education Department. Those two are very critical in their mandate, and so we worked with those to really identify spaces where we need to fill. And now, the policy environment is actually favorable. It's enabling for learning through play. All the necessary provisions have been made. So now it's at a time where it's about now scaling. It's about people now appreciating learning through play. And that's where the aspect of evidence now comes in. So working together with all these actors to create the evidence. And it's one of the key distinct characteristics of PlayMatters, really to work together with the Ministry of Education, the academia, and all other partners to really expand on this evidence. If I may say, one of the key greatest achievements we have had is working closely with the ministry to create a community of practice with the ministry. This community of practice is bringing together all actors implementing a resemblance or any project around learning through play. And using that community to share experiences, to share learnings, to share evidence, that we come together and have a common understanding, a harmonized and standard way in which we actually employ these learning through play methodologies, and most importantly, have the evidence. Because with the evidence, you're able to convince anyone that actually it's going to improve the learning outcomes. And so that's something that we are really driving hard and we are championing.
Okay, so you have mentioned actors, so you're referring to the Ministry of Education, you're referring to the PlayMatters project, you're referring to the teachers. Yes. Are there any other stakeholders in ensuring that this becomes a reality for all of Uganda?
Yeah, you will observe, and I think most of us are aware, that there's the public investment in terms of funding towards education is minimal. And so a lot of that space is filled in by non-government organizations. It's filled in by the civil society. It's also filled in by the media through the different coverage you make, and to garner a lot of support from all the persons who are within the environment of the child. So when we talk about actors, yes, I'm talking about the government actors, the public servants, and in their different mandates, down to the sub-county and to the teachers. But I'm also talking about the other organizations that are really supporting education in this country. So we are really kind of harnessing that entire environment towards learning and putting it together to share experiences, to share knowledge, to expand on evidence, to use this to improve how they are actually delivering. Thank you.
And as this day has been gazetted and the UN, we now get to celebrate it officially. For us as a country, Uganda and East Africa, how are we going to be celebrating the International Day of Play?
We are celebrating through demonstrations of what learning through play actually looks like in our project locations across Uganda and across the other 2 countries as well. We really want to bring the community, the country along this ride with us and along this journey. And I think you can't really understand it unless you see it, like the video demonstrated. So we really want to get people involved, get adults involved, participate with us, see what the power of learning through play can really bring to children across Uganda.
All right, and when the day is wrapped up, we have the 12th throughout the rest of the year. How do we still get to incorporate play into the system and tip people's minds, especially in a parental level?
Oh, so many opportunities. Go online if you have that opportunity to do so. We have a website, playmatters.org. We have lots of suggestions there for things that you can do and ideas that you can learn from. We don't only recommend that you do this in schools, but also there's parents and communities can get involved. Play with your children. Play with your children. I also want to recognize our donor, the Lego Foundation. If you go to their website, they have many, many resources that are available. You can even get on YouTube and see all those resources too. But before we wrap up, I really want to say a huge appreciation to the Ministry of Education and Sports because they have really guided us along the way on this journey. So an appreciation also to our partners, Plan International, War Child Holland, Innovations for Poverty Action, and also the Behavioral Insights team, in addition to our organization, the International Rescue Committee. And then, of course, we want to thank the media for your support. It's been an incredible opportunity to come and talk to you today. And thank you for giving us the chance to talk about learning through play and really give that opportunity.
All right. The only thing that you didn't do is bring something so that I can play with.
We failed on that. Next time.
As I talk to you. But Anne and Richard, thank you so much for the great work that you are doing. And of course, with the statistics that they have shared, over 3,060 learners that have so far had this engagement. That is 3,060 learners that are going to have a better livelihood as they adopt to the other spheres of life, working with 426 schools. You're looking at 9 districts that have been so far, had this project implemented for them. It has a balance because we have 134 districts. So Anne and Richard, we expect to have delivery in all the 134 districts in the country. But at the end of the day, the point that we're trying to make is that play actually matters. There's that saying that, something about John who plays something like that. Chris usually uses it. But it really just to say is that you need to adopt play, whether you're a child or an adult, you need to adopt play. And as adults, people have gone back into sports to ensure that they engage that kind of playfulness and bring out themselves better. That brings us to the end of this conversation. You can refer to their website for more details. For now, we take a short breather. We return with more conversations. Do stay with us.